Whether you're a space geek or a daily NASA headlines reader, you all have one thing in common: the amazement towards outer space. Magical yet mysterious and filled with all kinds of endless wonders like stars, planets, comets, and mystical galaxies. But today we won't be going through all of that. Rather, we will explore the planets in our solar system, as well as a little outside of it, and do a planet's ring size comparison. Planetary rings are simply a system of rings that orbit around a planet. When seen from Earth, it seems like a solid sheet, but the truth is they are made of trillions of rock particles, dust, silica, water ice, debris from the moon, asteroids, and comets. And believe it or not, some of these particles can go up to the size of cars and large houses that you find on Earth. 1. Chiron 2060. Chiron 2060 was discovered in 1977 by Charles Cole. It is the first planetary body to be known as a centaur because it showed properties of both comets and asteroids, similar to the mythological Greek hybrid creature of both man and a beast it's named after. Chiron 2060 has rings of 648 kilometers in diameter made of water ice. They are well defined, similar to the planetary rings of 10199 Chariklo. 2. 10199 Chariklo. 10199 Chariklo is the largest identified centaur in the outer solar system, discovered by James V. Scotty in 1997. There are two rings in 10199 Chariklo made mostly of water ice, silicates, and amorphous carbon. The inner ring was named Oeapici and the outer ring was named Chui in 2014. When considering Chariklo's planet ring size, Chui is 809.6 kilometers in diameter. It is not as bright as Oeapici, which is 782 kilometers in diameter. This means 101,199 Chariklo has a larger ring around it when compared with Chiron 2060. 3. Haumea. Haumea is a dwarf planet located just beyond the orbit of Neptune. This unusual-looking egg-shaped planet was discovered with rings in 2017 after it was seen passing a star. This was indeed a marvelous discovery because it proved that not only big planets like Saturn have rings. This thin ring is made of frozen particles. The diameter of the ring is 4,574 kilometers, making it to be the largest when a planet ring size comparison is done between Haumea and 10199 Chariklo. 4. HIP 41378F. HIP 41378F, which was discovered in 2016, orbits around the F-type star HIP 41378. It is known to be a superpuff, meaning that it has a lot of gas than originally thought when its mass was considered. However, another theory for this gigantic nature is assuming that it has planetary rings, which will then make it look abnormally large than what it's supposed to be. There is not much known about the HIP 41378F planet's ring sizes, but it is believed to be around 117,226 kilometers and made of small, rocky particles. Therefore, in comparison, HIP 41378F planet's ring size is twice that of Haumea. 5. Neptune. Neptune is truly bewitching because of the bright azure blue color it has. Its planetary rings were first discovered in 1984 by Patrice Boucher, Reinhold Hofner, and Jean Manfroid at La Silla Observatory, ESO, in Chile. The ring system has 5 rings named Gaia, Leverrier, Lassell, Arago, and Adams in order. It also has a thin, unnoticeable ring located coinciding with the path of the moon Galatea of Neptune. These rings are made of dust, mostly 20% and sometimes 70%, but every ring contains rocky particles. The outer ring, which is known as the Adams ring, is the most well-known. It is narrow, slightly inclined, and has a diameter of 125,864 kilometers, meaning that when a planet ring size comparison is done between HIP 41378F and Neptune, Neptune has the largest rings. 6. Uranus. Another eye-catching planet is Uranus, with its unique blue-green color. Its rings were first discovered by James Elliott, Edward Dunham, and Jessica Mink in 1977. 9 rings were identified first. Another 2 rings were seen by the Voyager 2 spacecraft in 1986, and the outer rings were identified by the Hubble telescope in 2003 to 2005. That means there are 13 planetary rings named Zeta 6, 5, 4, Alpha, Beta, Eta, Gamma, Delta, Lambda, Epsilon, Nu, and Mu. The outermost ring Mu has a diameter of 206,000 kilometers. In comparing the planet ring sizes between Neptune and Uranus, Uranus is almost twice that of Neptune. These dark and thin rings are made of dust, water ice, and mostly organics that were exposed to radiation. 7. Saturn. Saturn, with its extensive ring system, is the most popular planet in our solar system. These rings captivate everyone with their mesmerizing sight of having white-brown sands at a glance. Saturn's rings are extraordinarily bright because they are made from dust particles, rocky materials, silicates, water ice, comets, asteroids, and debris of the moons that once orbited Saturn. The particles can range from tiny grains to as big as houses or massive mountains on Earth. There are 7 rings in Saturn that go up to 282,000 kilometers from the planet. Rings A and B were discovered by Giovanni Cassini in 1675, Ring C by William Bond and his son George Phillips Bond in 1850. Ring D was discovered by Nikolai Barabakhov and B. Semoykin in 1933, Ring E by Walter Feebleman in 1967, Ring F by Pioneer 11 spacecraft in 1979, and Ring G by Voyager 1 spacecraft in 1980. Rings A, B, and C are the main rings with denser compositions and larger particles. Rings D, E, F, and G mostly contain dust particles and appear as faint lines. Although they are named in alphabetical order, the location can be quite confusing. Starting from the planet, the first ring you will find is D. Then comes the rings C, B, and A. F ring is located just after A ring and is the most active planetary ring in our solar system. It is the outermost ring when considering planets' ring sizes. It has a diameter of 280,360 kilometers, indicating that when comparing Uranus and Saturn's outer rings, Saturn has the largest rings out of the two. Beyond that, you find the rings G and E. Then there is the mysteriously invisible Phoebe ring held in the orbit of the moon Phoebe. It was discovered in 2009. But because of the Phoebe ring's darker particles that absorb sunlight, it is invisible to the naked eye. It is also the largest ring in our solar system, extending to a distance of 6 million to 16.2 million kilometers from Saturn's center. But this ring system is younger, formed somewhere around the last 100 million years. It is also continuously losing particles and is assumed to disappear in another 300 million years. 8. Jupiter. The rings of Jupiter, which is the largest planet in our solar system, were first identified by the Voyager 1 spacecraft in 1979. They can only be observed from behind Jupiter. It has 4 rings, the halo ring, the main ring, and 2 outer gossamer rings named Amalthea and Phoebe. They are made mostly out of microscopic dust particles. The halo ring is considered to be the brightest with a blue hue. The narrow main ring is held in the orbit of the moon Adrastea. The 2 gossamer rings are very thin and coincide with the orbit of the moons Amalthea and Phoebe. The Theban gossamer ring has a diameter of 452,000 kilometers, meaning that when a planet ring size comparison is done, Jupiter has the largest ring almost twice the size of Saturn. Another faint ring was also discovered in late 2006, coinciding with the orbit of Haumea, the largest irregular satellite of Jupiter. It has been formed with the debris of an undiscovered moon within the Haumea orbit. 9. Proxima Centauri C. Proxima Centauri C is another exoplanet that orbits the red star Proxima Centauri, the closest star to the Sun. It was discovered by astrophysicist Mario da Samo in 2019. It was quite surprising at first to see an unusual brightness for a planet that far away, located approximately 4.2 light-years from the Earth. The only explanation that it was the bright ring system similar to Saturn. As much is not known, it is assuming that this ring would be close to 5 times the Jupiter radii of 69,911 kilometers. 10. The Sun. The Sun is the closest star to the Earth. It is approximately 100 times the diameter of the Earth and 10 times the diameter of Jupiter. In comparison to Proxima Centauri, the Sun is the largest with a diameter of 1.3927 million kilometers. However, the Sun is not the gigantic ball that we need to be in awe of in our solar system. It's Saturn with its mind-blowing Phoebe ring. This is because when the Sun has a diameter of just 1.3927 million kilometers, Saturn, along with its Phoebe ring, has a diameter of about 26 million kilometers. 11. V1400 Centauri. V1400 Centauri is another star similar to the Sun, located 434 light-years away from Earth. A brown dwarf named J1407b with a planetary ring system was found to be orbiting around V1400 Centauri. This was discovered by a team led by astronomer Eric Mamajek in 2012. Its outer radius was reported as 90 million kilometers, meaning that it is 640 times the size of Saturn's rings.